If you feel strongly that Black lives matter, that trans lives matter, that female, femme, non-binary, minority lives matter, you should be voting.
I wanted to add that while I'm editing, I am burning my Bring the Heat candle with our 3 awesome female Supreme Court justices, because women should make decisions for themselves. Okay, have fun watching.
Hello friends, my name is Cassie and I have been quiet for a while on this channel. I've been really active on Instagram over the last month and a half as our country is undergoing some really big changes, waking up to the systemic racism that our country has been built upon for 400 plus years, and generally, hopefully, making some really positive changes in light of microaggressions and macroaggressions and police brutality and all of the violence against people of color that has been taking place forever is nothing new. We know this. I needed to take time to gather some resources, figure out a game plan for what information I felt like was my job to share with you. As a white woman, it is not my job to share the experiences of people of color. It is not my job to try and do that educating to this kind of degree. That is something that I want to be passed on to the voices of people of color, and I will have a lot of resources, petitions, donation places, etc. linked down below so that you can seek information from the people who are experiencing racism and discrimination. I will only be speaking for my experience, which is that of a white woman. I've done a lot of reflecting, learning, unlearning, and one thing that I have decided about my role in this movement is that my role is to take action steps and share action steps rather than simply sharing graphics of information, which I have been doing a bit of because I think it's helpful and information diffusing is good, very good. I've tried to pair that information with, and here's what you can do about it. I think there's a lot of information out there and a lot of places where we can find that information, but sometimes it's hard to know, like, well, what am I supposed to do about it? This is going to be the start of a mini series about why you should vote. Donald Trump needs to go. He has said so many problematic things. He is the reason that the coronavirus is still running rampant through the US. The problem is not solved. It's a whole nother issue. He is a raging racist and homophobe and sexist and transphobe and fascist, anything, everything, all the bad things. He is them, and he's not doing good things for this country, so we need to vote him out. Today's video is going to be all about Ruth Bader Ginsburg and the Supreme Court and why the Supreme Court is a really, really big issue in this upcoming election. So I'm gonna share a little bit of info and I'm gonna do it right now. One of the biggest things that this next election is kind of hinged around is Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, or RBG, has been on the Supreme Court since she was appointed in 1993 by President Bill Clinton. And she is one of the more liberal Supreme Court justices. She helped legalize gay marriage and a lot of other important policies that are moving our country in a more progressive, basically just good direction. Now, RBG is 87 years old and she is still kicking, she is still fighting. However, in recent years, she has suffered a number of cancer scares, including recent surgery, which means that it's very possible that her seat on the Supreme Court could become vacant within the next year or 4 years especially. Now, if her seat becomes vacant on the Supreme Court, the next president will fill it. The Supreme Court has 9 justices, and at the moment there is a balance that has allowed these progressive motions to push through in the Supreme Court. However, they're 1 justice away from having a conservative simple majority, which means that they would have the voting power to reverse a lot of progressive policy like Roe v. Wade, like the Affordable Care Act, that help literal human beings stay alive and healthy and have a good life in America. Trump has nominated 2 Supreme Court justices. If he were to fill this 3rd seat, either RBG's or another Supreme Court justice for some reason, he would be the first president since Richard Nixon to appoint 3 justices in his first term. And I don't know about you, but I know that 3 is 1/3 of 9, and there are 9 Supreme Court justices. So that is literally 1/3 of the Supreme Court that Donald Trump would have appointed, and that is the most horrifying thing to me. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell appointed Donald Trump's first recommendation in just 19 days, whereas when the 2016 seat opened up, Barack Obama nominated Merrick Garland in early 2016, but Mitch McConnell refused refused to accept this nomination and wanted to wait until the next president was elected. And I think it's safe to assume that he probably wouldn't feel that way if a seat opened up within the next couple of months. Like I said, 19 days was as fast as it took to fulfill Trump's other nomination. Yeah, that's fucked. So to maintain the balance of the Supreme Court, we really need someone other than Donald Trump to be in office so that Donald Trump can't turn the Supreme Court conservative and reduce rights for women, people of color, trans rights, gay rights, and every minority because Trump only likes white men. I have a number of other things to talk about on this topic, but I'm now realizing how much I could talk about each one, and I want this to be digestible, so make sure you subscribe for more information about why you should vote. It is important. You can register to vote online. It's very easy. It'll be the first link in the description box. If you feel strongly that Black lives matter, that trans lives matter, that female, femme, non-binary, minority lives matter, you should be voting. And if you believe in any of the things that I just mentioned and you vote for Donald Trump, that is an act of violence against the person that you love, because Donald Trump directly opposes all people that aren't old white men. That is shitty. I implore you to register to vote. I implore you to use your voice and not vote for Donald Trump. Let's elect him out. Okay, peace. I'll see you again next Friday with some more on why you should vote. Bye!